Hey guys, Devon Brown, the Success Renegade here, and I've got a really awesome tip for you to use in your marketing. And I actually got to give credit to my assistant, Suzanne, who was the one who put this together and had the idea for what I'm about to teach you, because she likes to do a lot of homework and stuff on the internet. So anyway, she found it, and it's really awesome, and you're going to love it. So let me tell you a quick story. I am a Miami Dolphins fan. Okay, Miami Dolphins, that's a football team. If you guys are not familiar with them, excuse the holes in my t-shirt because I don't care. Anyway, so about once a year, I try to drive down to Miami to catch a game with my buddies. And this one particular time, we're driving in the car, and my buddy Charles was driving. We rented a car. My buddy Charles was driving. He's in the front seat. And then my buddy JP is in the front passenger seat, and I'm sitting in the back by myself. Okay? Charles has his window rolled down about halfway. All right? And we're driving down the street, and all of a sudden, we hear this big thud. I mean, like, boom! It's like, just, what the heck was that? And that's exactly what I said. I was like, what the heck was that? Actually, I probably used, more colorful language, but I was like, what the heck was that? And Charles says, I don't know, but it hit me in the head, and it really hurt. Okay? So just then, we're driving. This is about 8, 9 o'clock at night, so it's dusk. It's pretty dark, and the street lights are on. So just then, we're driving underneath a light post, and I see what looks to be a big shadow on the floorboard in the back passenger seat. And it's a shadow, and it's a shadow of what looks like a leaf, right? So I start to go down to grab this leaf, and I tell you what, before I'm way off that, I'll get back to that in just a second, all right? I'll tell you what it was. But what I want to talk to you guys about real quick is what's called the Zeigarnik effect. And the Zeigarnik effect is something that you can use in your marketing. And what it is it's a principle that states that people are much more likely to pay attention or remember something or be interested in something, and they'll be able to hang on to something if the thought is incomplete. And what that means is that you can use this in your marketing to get people to hang on while you're telling them a story. If you want them to read something or you want them to pay attention to something that you're doing. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've got a sales letter. Say you've got a long sales letter, and you want to get to the point. What you can do is at the top of your sales letter, you can start by telling a story. And by the way, you can do the same thing, like, for example, when you're sending out an email. So you can start with a story at the beginning of the sales letter, and then not finish it, and then go into the content of what you want to say, and they'll keep reading because they need closure to what you started with. And I hope that makes sense. Now, this is often used a lot in NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, and it's called opening a loop, but not closing the loop, because as human beings, we need completions. We need completion. This is kind of like, oh, what's that song I was trying to think of? And you keep thinking about it, you keep thinking about it, you keep thinking about it, and it stays on your mind until you can remember the name of that song, and then the loop is closed, as they say in NLP, and you can go on with your day. So you can do this again with emails. Maybe you can send out like a 2-part email sequence. So part 1 will be, you're going to start to tell a little story, right, about a really awesome way that you discovered to drive a ton of traffic to websites. Maybe you want to sell a traffic driving product or a traffic driving ebook. As opposed to just sending an email that says, hey, go buy this traffic driving ebook, what you can do is you can start by sending an email to your list, and maybe that email says something like, just the other day I was messing around on the internet, and I came across a really great page, and it was explaining this concept of how to drive a lot of traffic without using Google AdWords or this or that or the other. Crap, I gotta run. I'll email you part 2 tomorrow, where I actually reveal what it is. What you've done is you've opened a train of thought in their head, but you didn't finish it off. You didn't close it. You didn't answer the question. And so that's the Zeigarnik effect. And so I just wanted to teach you. Sometimes it's not about, knowing all the technological tips or tricks or anything. Sometimes it's just about, it comes down to basic psychology and leaving people hanging on to make them more interested in what you're saying. So this is a really neat little tip, and you can use it in your marketing. You can start it instantly. This, by the way, if you want to put an ad out somewhere, you can say something like, discover the XYZ, discover the one way to do XYZ. Makes people want to go and check out your site if they're going to get the answer that you left them hanging on for, so that they can complete that loop, as they say. So it's called the Zeigarnik effect, and I hope that made sense to you. Oh, and by the way, you're probably thinking to yourself, Devon, when you're driving down to Miami, what the heck was it? Well, I'll tell you what it was. We're driving down to Miami, and we hear the big thud, and I look down on the floorboard because we're passing under a light post, and I see what looks like a shadow of a leaf, and I reach down to grab that leaf, and just then, my buddy JP flips on the interior light of the car, and I start screaming. I'm like, ah! Ah! I'm screaming like a little girl. All right? I am terrified. It's an owl. An owl was in, and it was upside down, it was on the floorboard. It was looking at me like this, and its eyes were all open, and I was screaming. I was terrified. And my friends pulled the car over, and they had child safety locks on the rental-car, so I couldn't get out. So my two buddies, JP and Charles, jumped out of the car, and I was in the car and just screaming like a little girl, thinking the thing was going to wake up and kill me. And then they opened the door, and I ran like 50 feet down the street, and my buddy JP reached in, grabbed the owl, put it on the ground, dug a hole for it, and buried it. And we don't even know if it was dead. So animal rights activists, please don't be mad at me. The owl did not kill me, but I was very scared. So that's what it was, and hopefully I used the Zeigarnik effect well on you by starting with that story, making you wonder what the heck I was going to finish with and what the heck it was that flew in the car, but I got to give you some good content in between the time I started the story and finished the story. So that's how to use it. That's what it is. Go look it up. Check it out. If you're reading this on my blog, there's a place where you can go check out the definition for yourself and learn more about it. It's a really neat tool. Hopefully you enjoyed this tip, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.